Welcome to the WorkStudy Plus Getting Started tutorial. Today we're going to cover the basics of data collection and how to do a time study. There are other videos that will cover the basics of setting up your studies and transferring the data to the PC for analysis. Today we're going to start by going to one of the studies that we've previously set up, and it's the first study on the list here, and we're looking at the main list of the WorkStudy software right after it started. We're going to click on the example pick, and we're going to see in the bottom left that we have a couple different buttons that we can click on. What we're going to click on is Do Study, and it should be pointed out that we are currently running the software in landscape mode. If you run the software in portrait mode, which is perfectly fine, you will not see the log on the right side. You will have to click the log button to access the log. For today though, we're going to start the study, and you would always start your study by going up to the top and clicking on the activity that you're observing. So that will be get order in this case, and when we do that, you'll see the timer running in the bottom right corner showing the elapsed time, as well as you'll see which activity you're currently timing. So this is set as a continuous observation study, so when we click the next activity, get palette, we'll see that it updates the log and it shows that we're now timing the get palette element. So it's very simple, and you just click on what's being observed and the timer will switch to that activity when you click on it, and you'll see the elapsed timer showing the time observed for the activity. So now we're going to cover a couple other functions in the collection that are very important to using the software. One of the most important ones is what to do if you accidentally click the wrong activity, and how there's an easy way in the software to adjust for that. And what we would do in this example, say I'll go over and I'll click on New Tout, and then we'll see that it's now timing New Tout on the right side there. Well, that's actually incorrect, we'll say, and if we want to fix that, we can go over to where it says New Tout, click on the actual text, and it takes us into a selection screen. Now you'll know this is a selection screen because the layout looks different. There's no timer at the bottom. So we're going to go up here and say that the element we should have clicked on was pick. And now we're going to see that it changed the name of the element on the log. But most importantly, our elapsed time on the right hand side is still the same. So it hasn't affected our accuracy, which is very important. So there's a few other important things we'll point out here. We're going to collect a little bit more data here, and I'll go through this fairly quickly here. And let's just say you're going along in your normal collection and you have a delay. Now in this example we set up some standard delays, so we'll click on the bottom right of the grid here. There's a delay group. When the delay group opens, we'll see a list of our delay elements that we've set up on the left here, and I can select the appropriate delay. So we'll say in this case it was a other delay. It wasn't one of our standard delays, and now we're going to see how it's going to update the grid on the right with delay other, and we can time that delay. So a few other additional things that you might find useful. Let's just say we're doing get totes as our activity, and you want to track how many totes they were getting this time. So on the right hand side you can see how there's a number 1 with a little square beside it. If we click on this area, it takes us into the count and entry custom field screen, and in here we can put in a count. So we can put in how many totes they're getting. So in this case I could say 10, and we'll click done, and now the software will account for that in this time that elapses we were getting 10 totes and not just 1. During your study you may also want to enter some notes. So in this case we're going to go in and we're going to show you how to track custom notes. So let's collect another delay. So we'll click on delay, and then on the delay screen here we'll select other again, and in this case we may want to put in a note to explain what this delay actually was. So we'll go back down to the little one with the square to the right of delay other, And when we select that, what we want to do now is go to the second option here, which says Notes, and we could put in some details about this delay. So these notes will be attached to your study, so that when you import into Excel, you'll be able to see everything you've entered here. And you can have multiple fields, but in this case we just have the note field set up. So a few other things we'll continue on and explain here. During your study, if you need to do any performance rating, let's just say we've been watching for a while and we want to rate this person, we can go over to where it says 100% and we can change this to a different rating. So in this case I'm going to change it to 90, and we can continue on with our study. Now in preferences for the device, you can go into the rating option and change it to keep the rating from the previous observation. In this case, it's always reverting to 100%, but if you don't want it to do that, you can go to the device preferences in the software and set it to keep the previous rating. You also have the option to rate the study at the end, so that it will set the rating after the study's done, if that's something you prefer to do. So during your study, you might close out at some point and then go back in till you take a break, and you'll notice that the timer does not stop when you do that. So let's say in this example you forgot to hit the stop button and you wanted to scratch this observation because you don't want it included in your reports because the time's wrong. So I'm going to hit stop here, and now we can go over and on the right we can click on the time, and it gives a little pop-up window with some different options here, and we're going to select the second last one that says scratch entry. So when we click on scratch entry, we'll notice that the entry has now shows scratched at the bottom and will not be included in any of our statistical reports. So we don't have to worry about this skewing our results when we do our reports later on. You can also do this to any observation in the list. You can scroll up and down your log here and make changes at any time as necessary. So I want to show one advanced feature here. When you're setting up your studies, you can set up action buttons, and you'll notice on the list of activities on the left we have a button there that says resume. This is not an element that we would use for timing. I'll explain how this works. If you are performing a timing on an activity and there's a delay, so let's say there's a delay, so we'll click on delay, and let's just say that this is a supervisor delay, so we'll select supervisor, and now we're going to time the supervisor delay, but when the delay is completed, in this case, let's just say we're resuming the travel element. So we don't want to click on travel to stage again. What we want to do is click on our resume action button. And what this tells the software is I would like to resume the activity I was working on prior to the delay. So we can see here when we look at the log that it says resumed 17, and it shows that we are resuming timing for the observation 17 travel to stage. When the data is imported, both times will be added together and be treated as one occurrence. This maintains the correct times and the correct occurrences, so your data is still accurate. So this covers the basics of the data collection for the WorkStudy Plus software. There is additional advanced functionality that we have not covered today, but for getting started, this should get you going. And if you need more help with the WorkStudy software, please contact us at www.qtech.com, and we'll be glad to help you out.